Sun has set in beautiful Tempe, Arizona, where the undefeated Creighton Blue Jays have flown south for a winter non-conference battle with the 6-5 Arizona State Sun Devils. Alongside Kara Lawson, I'm Eric Rothman as we welcome you inside the Wells Fargo Arena here on the campus of Arizona State. And the Sun Devils have been up and down this season, and they have a tough task tonight against number 9 Creighton. And Kara, they have been soaring here in the early going.
They have. This is one of the most explosive offensive teams in the country. So fun to watch. Exciting tempo, led by a dynamic backcourt, Maurice Watson Jr. and Marcus Foster. They love to get up and down, and this is a team that's incredibly efficient on the offensive end of the floor.
Coach Greg McDermott, in his 7th season, he's had 3 teams since coming to Creighton head to the NCAA tournament, and all 3 of those rather, have gone to the second weekend of the tournament, and he's hoping that this team here can go even further than those. For Arizona State, 6-5, Kara, it's been really up and down for second-year head coach Bobby Hurley.
Yeah, just lack of consistency from game to game. Games where they play well, they shoot the basketball well, and then other games where it's a big challenge. No more so evident than their last couple games. They beat San Diego State, but then they lose a home game against New Mexico State. So this would be, without question, their signature win of the non-conference season if they're able to pull it off.
And hey, Creighton is coming off arguably their worst performance of the season, only a 1-point victory against 2-10 Oral Roberts, so maybe the Sun Devils can catch Creighton sleeping on the road.
We'll see. I mean, defense is going to be a challenge for them. You watch this Creighton team, these guys can all shoot it. They're very, very active in terms of running the floor. And Justin Patton, the freshman about the jump ball, man, you're going to love to see how hard he sprints the floor and sets the tempo for them.
Creighton starts things off in the white. And this is Watson, NCAA leader in assists per game at just over 9. He was looking for his first one there to Cole Huff. And Huff, a senior leader on this team, averaging 9 points per game. Huff, Watson, Foster, really the big 3.
They are, and they're experienced guys. All of them transferring into Creighton. So 5th-year seniors or 4th-year juniors, they have a lot of experience in college basketball.
Creighton with a win tonight would have their best start to a season since 2003-2004. A quick bucket by Cody Justice in Arizona State's first possession.
Well, that's a great sign. I think Cody Justice is very, very talented and creative on the offensive end.
Turnover on Creighton. Evans pushing the alley-oop to Obi Oleka. Foster on the other end can't silence the crowd. We thought it'd be a little quieter with the students on winter break. Not the case after that alley-oop. Couldn't have asked for a better 2 possessions for Arizona State to start things off. It has been a tough couple of weeks, losing their top freshman due to a transfer, as Sam Cunliffe, the number 41 player on the ESPN 100, deciding to transfer. It's a short bench. An and 1 for Trey Holder as the Sun Devils keep getting production in the paint.
One of the things that Greg McDermott was worried about was turnovers. He said if we turn the basketball over, that is a recipe for disaster. And you see that with Obi Oleka. He is electric in terms of his athleticism. This is a smaller Arizona State team. They play 4 guards. Oleka is really the only guy that's a forward, but you can see his ability athletically helps set the tone for them.
And you saw Holder get inside there. He doubled his point production from his freshman to sophomore year last year. And you see his comfortability getting inside with the basketball here in his junior season. Patton loses it for Creighton, but the white jerseys have it back down 6. Creighton is the best 3-point shooting team in the country, 44% from long range. They've missed a couple here and still searching for their first field goal.
Well, you can already see with that foul there on Cody Justice how much of a task it's going to be for Arizona State to try and keep Justin Patton off the offensive glass.
Patton averaging 6 rebounds per game, and now a foul before the inbound goes against Creighton. Marcus Foster called for the foul, and the Blue Jays looking a little discombobulated here.
A little bit. Not what we would have expected, and certainly, Eric, not what we would have expected after watching Arizona State practice yesterday. I mean, it was a rough practice that Bobby Hurley put his guys through, put them on the line a number of times.
In terms of feet ran in practice yesterday for the Sun Devils, they might have ran to Omaha if they needed to go for the away game against the Blue Jays. It was what Coach Hurley called a mental practice yesterday to get his team head straight, and Trey Holder is the early scoring leader after that three. No field goals yet for Creighton. Holder aggressive every time he touches the basketball. Great feed to Oleka off his fingertips. And this is what Creighton does as they get their first bucket inside. They run on transition. They want to speed up the game.
No question. Defensive rebound. I want you to watch how quickly they pass ahead. All 5 of them do it. They try and get it ahead of their teammates to make plays.
Kyrie Thomas, the lay-in, and a foul underneath.
That's number 2, I think.
Will go against Kyrie Thomas, I believe. It's his second. How about Trey Holder getting inside, getting to the line, and more importantly, making his buckets, and on this possession, his teammate Shannon Evans kind of following in his footsteps.
Well, this is a great sign for Arizona State, and this is a tough loss for Creighton. Kyrie Thomas, their best perimeter defender. I mean, he typically draws the toughest defensive assignment, but if you're Arizona State, I'm encouraged the way Trey Holder has played these first few minutes, because I think he's had more of an adjustment to handle playing with Shannon Evans this year. He had the ball in his hands most of last year, being the point guard. He's had to kind of share those duties. Sometimes when you're off the ball more, it's harder to find your groove, and so it's good to see him playing like he is tonight. Shannon
Evans joins Trey Holder in the backcourt. Evans followed Coach Bobby Hurley from his previous stint at University at Buffalo, as Mo Watson Jr. the lay-in. And although he leads the NCAA in assists per game, he also puts up 13 points as well. Torian Graham rattles out. There's Holder again, the smallest guy on the floor, the offensive rebound. And the Sun Devils all over the offensive glass. Watson is hammered underneath by Jethro Tashumpa. Really the only thing, Kara, that Arizona State hasn't done right so far in these first few minutes is get back quick on transition.
Well, there's a lot of teams that have a hard time against Creighton getting back in transition because of how hard they run the floor, and they have multiple guys that can pass the ball ahead. And you're going to get a look at Maurice Watson Jr. right here, and he's one of my favorite players to watch in the country. You reference how good he is at passing the basketball, but just creating tempo for his team, getting into little crevices, setting guys up for quality shots. And you talk to any of his teammates, their eyes light up when they talk about playing with Maurice, because they get quality and easy looks at the basket every game.
His assists set up 23 points per game for Creighton, and he sets up 43% of the team's three-pointers. So really, it's an understatement to say that the offense runs through the passing ability of Maurice Watson. Holder weaving, finds the open man. The step back for Evans. Creighton might have got away with a push underneath. The fans not happy about it. Zierden, a friendly bounce for the senior from Minneapolis. Quick substitution for Greg McDermott as he goes to the senior Isaiah Zierden, only averaging 5 points per game, but gets his first field goal to drop. Nice find. Holder inside to Tashumpa for the two-hand flush. Holder now 5 points, 2 rebounds, and his first assist as the junior from Los Angeles leading the way for the Sun Devils, up by 6. Good defense by Oleka. Nowhere to go for Cole Huff. Holder changing pace and draws the foul.
The Sun Devils have had an uneven start to this season, but it's been anything but uneven tonight. How about the athleticism of Obi Aleka and then Trey Holder? He's bringing it in the point guard matchup with Maurice Watson Jr.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Zales. Celebrate your lasting love with gifts from Zales, the Diamond Store.
Jays are in trouble here early as we welcome you inside the Wells Fargo Arena alongside Kara Lawson. I'm Eric Rothman. And Kara, we were at practice yesterday. We weren't sure what type of energy to expect out of this Arizona State team, but Trey Holder, the point guard, has really led the way here early.
I think he's such a key to this team in the season in terms of their confidence level. He gives them another guard that can break down, and this is doing it against an elite level defender. When you talk about Kyrie Thomas for Creighton, and you look at his ability, if he knocks down three-point shots, now you're in a world of trouble because he has the ability to get to the rim, but he can also knock that down. And we talked about earlier about how it's been an adjustment for him this year. Last year, primarily the ball in his hands all the time, was a senior-laden team, so a lot of new faces and new teammates, and sometimes that takes an adjustment from the point guard position.
But it seems like he's gelled well with Shannon Evans, who sat out last season after transferring from Buffalo with Coach Bobby Hurley, and those two here early seem to have a good chemistry on the floor.
This is a team with guys that can score. I mean, Evans can score. Graham can score. Holder can score. The problem for Arizona State has been their defense.
Right.
On the defensive end, will they guard? And will they guard at a high level? And so that is the challenge. And this is one of the ultimate challenges in college basketball right now, is to guard the Creighton Blue Jays for a full 40 minutes.
Arizona State 325th in terms of points per game against, as they give up 82 points to their opponents. On the other hand, they do average just over 80 points. So as you mentioned, Kara, they can score in bunches. It's just been the consistency on the offensive end hasn't been there. Turnaround hook underneath by Justin Patton, the redshirt freshman. Can't get it to go. Holder, triple and quadruple team, and he threw it away. Marcus Foster picks it up. Foster, Euro step floater is good. Foster, the team's leading scorer, 18 points per game, the transfer from Kansas State, and he is dynamic with the ball in his hands. Arizona State slowing things down a bit, running the half-court offense more so than the first few possessions. Zierden already hit one from there, make it two. Isaiah Zierden only plays about 19 minutes per game, but he shoots 41% from three-point land. Perfect so far here in the first half. Cody Justice on the baseline, and all of a sudden Arizona State's offense has gone cold. Chance for Creighton to tie or take the lead on this possession. Patton the mid-range, and he's missed his first two field goals.
A little bit harder to guard Creighton, isn't it, off of misses than it is off of makes, and that is what has changed for Arizona State. Creighton will run and come at you really quickly off those misses.
And Arizona State, they're okay if they stay close with Creighton towards the end because they're a good free throw shooting team. They just don't want to let Creighton's offense get off to the races and find themselves in a big deficit late in the game.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely can shoot from the free throw line, and that helps. They haven't been in a ton of close games this year.
Jethro Tashumpa stops the drought for Arizona State as another three rains in. This time it's Toby Henger.
So many guys for Creighton can knock down that three-point shot. Really stretches your defense, puts a lot of pressure on you, especially when they set those ball screens.
Creighton started 0 for 4 from the field. They've hit 7 of their last 10. Watson falls down, and a block underneath called on Arizona State. A scary moment there for Creighton fans as Watson goes down awkwardly.
Well, here's a play. a few possessions earlier with Foster, and just the strength and the ability to score. And that's what Foster brings to this Creighton team, is you have a guy that's a setup man and Maurice Watson, but Foster gives them a guy that can go get his own shot. And that's something that this offense has really benefited from. Much more balance on that end of the floor.
And we talked to both Foster and Watson, and it seems like Watson has kind of almost been a mentor for Foster since coming over from Kansas State.
Well, Watson's such a great leader. I mean, you watch him interact with his teammates, you watch him practice, you watch him play in games. He makes sure that everyone feels a part of the team and everyone feels valuable.
Foul underneath will go against Arizona State, as Coach Greg McDermott has continued to hustle in the substitutes here in the early going, as Martin Crumple was underneath after just checking in for the Blue Jays, and he got pushed to the ground as the foul called on the Sun Devils. Crumple, offensive rebound. A third opportunity, this time for Henger. Crumple again, still no bucket. Nice touch by Shannon Evans. Evans now with 4 points. Junior transfer out of Suffolk, Virginia. Zierden, 3 for 3 from distance, and he ties it at 20.
Yeah, boy, he's played well. This is a guy that led the team in minutes a season ago at almost 32 a game, is in a 6-man role this season, but he brings tremendous experience and great confidence shooting beyond the three-point line.
11-4 run now for Creighton. Graham at the elbow, tough shot. Creighton has yet to lead in this game, nearing the midway point of the first half. Henger could do it right here, and he does. A 1-point advantage for the Blue Jays.
What a luxury it is for Greg McDermott to have so many guys that can knock down the three-point shot. And these are two experienced players off of the bench that are coming in, just lighting it up.
Creighton's made 8 field goals. 5 of them have been the three-point variety. Four on the shot clock. Good defense by Clement. Foster all alone. And Arizona State wants to take a timeout, and who can blame them if the Blue Jays have come storming back, hitting 5 of their last 6 three-pointers.
No, that's what this team does. They are #1 in the country in terms of three-point efficiency, over 44%. And Marcus Foster, man, we're on pace for 100. This is fun to watch.
Some rivalries divide states, but in the Commonwealth, it divides living rooms. It splits holiday dinner tables. Whose side are you on, Kentucky or Louisville? This is going to be a blockbuster. Wednesday.
Oh, what a battle it will be in the Bluegrass State, Kentucky and Louisville. Take a look at the series history. December 21st marks the 50th meeting between the two. Rick Pitino, 2-time NCAA champ at Kentucky and at Louisville. And then, of course, John Calipari, 8-1 versus Louisville in his career with the Wildcats. Some excitement in Kentucky tomorrow, but we've got some early excitement here in Arizona. Maybe a little unexpected for some. Eric Rothman, Carol Lawson here with you. The Sun Devils, Kara, have kept pace with the Blue Jays, although Creighton now, all of a sudden, it's that three-point shooting juggernaut that really just demoralizes their opponents.
Yeah, so, you know, you're going to have to do a better job of guarding the three-point line. How do you do it if you're Arizona State? One, try and bottle Creighton up in transition. Easier said than done. But then also protect the paint. Don't let the drive and kick action happen. And that's what opens up a lot of those Creighton three-pointers is drive and kick.
Creighton 5 for 9 from 3. And the Sun Devils, after that Torian Graham miss, 1 for 7.
Great pass.
Crumple rejected by Cody Justice. A monster block by the junior out of Mesa, Arizona. shot clock. And Arizona State bailed out with a hand check foul underneath.
Transition defense, and Watson with a great pass. And how about Justice? I mean, the 6'4", 6'5" guard just going up and meeting Crumple at the rim.
The foul underneath, Carroll, was on Maurice Watson, and that's his second personal here in the first half. And not a great foul to take either, as there was 3 on the shot clock. So a reset now for Arizona State, and they seem to be able to slow the clock down a little bit, run the half-court offense that Coach Bobby Hurley wants. They just have struggled to make shots in the half-court offense.
Yeah, there's no question it's been feast or famine for Arizona State in terms of shooting percentage in particular games. And they've had games where they've shot it well, and they've won. And they've had games where they've just been anemic from beyond the three-point line, and it's been a challenge for them. They're going to have to shoot it well tonight to beat a team like Creighton, because Creighton's going to hang 80-plus on you every single time out.
Justin Patton and Henger underneath, combining for that block. It knocked off the backside of Trey Holder, so a turnover as Creighton takes possession, up by 3, 9 minutes to play here in the first. Go gadget arms by Torian Graham, gets in the passing lane. Dumps it to Oleka for the finger roll. Vina Oleka. His friends call him Obi. He's got 6 points on 3 of 4 shooting. Zierden in the corner, good head fake. Creighton swings it around, 10 on the shot clock. Clement well off the mark. Holder stripped, Zierden keeps it alive. Foster on the pull-up for 3.
Well, how good has Zierden been here early? I mean, that was a terrific defensive play. Just one-on-one with Holder there attacking him and setting up that transition for Foster to knock it down.
Well, he led the team in steals last year, but I didn't realize that he also was on the gymnastic team as a tightrope walker. And a whistle underneath will go against Creighton.
You have to defend well enough in order to help your team get out in transition, and that's what Zierden does. I mean, that's just one-on-one. That's just, hey, you know what? I'm going to make a play. You're not going to get by me. And then Foster, the transfer from K-State, lighten it up.
The Creighton Blue Jays tops in the nation in terms of three-point percentage at 44% on the season. They've made 6 of 11 here in the first half tonight.
Buoyed by 2 guys off their bench, Isaiah Zierden and Toby Hegner. I mean, those 2 guys have combined to hit 5 of their 6 threes. And when you have that type of firepower off of the bench, that really helped Creighton as they started off a little slow and Arizona State came on strong. Those 2 players have really helped their offense, and that's what Greg McDermott has. It's a luxury he has to bring guys like Zierden, like Hegner, that have started games, that have played in big moments for Creighton, and now you bring them off the bench. So the game doesn't start as well as you would have liked, or a couple guys pick up foul trouble. You can go to players that have starters experience to help get you through some of those tough times.
You saw the graphic there, Zierden's point production so far. Below that was the point production of Trey Holder for Arizona State. He had 6 points in the first 2 minutes, but he has not made a basket, Kara, in the last 10. And really, since he's done that and kind of gone cold, so has the rest of the Arizona State offense. They've been able to keep pace from the free throw line. That's Mo Watson, 2 fouls so far for Creighton. So Coach Greg McDermott having to rely on his backup guards as Cole Huff, the senior, hitting another 3 for the Blue Jays.
You cannot be late on your closeout. You cannot close out short against Creighton. It's just not what you can do. You have to run them off the three-point line. Can't give them clean looks like that.
Blocked by Patton. It's going to be a goaltend. Close.
Yeah.
Very close. And I got to tell you what, too, Kara. Arizona State really has been bailed out by some whistles here in the early going, late in the shot clock when it looked like they didn't really have anywhere else to go. They've either gotten to the free throw line or gotten resets on their possessions.
Well, there's no question that has to have been a point of emphasis in Creighton's huddles. Hey, stop fouling, make them earn some plays on the offensive end.
Held ball with a possession arrow in favor of Arizona State. Tomorrow night on ESPN at 9 p.m. We keep on bowling, that is, with the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl. BYU takes on Wyoming, also streaming live on the ESPN app, and watch ESPN. It's at 9 Eastern on ESPN. Good hands by Zierden. You always hear the son of a coach, maybe a little bit more heady of a player than those who aren't. And his father, Don Zierden, is an assistant with the Washington Wizards, former head coach of the Minnesota Lynx in the WNBA, and as a senior is one of the veterans and leaders on this Creighton team. There's a turnover on Arizona State, but even with all that, his minutes have decreased with the transfers coming in. He hasn't gotten a ton of opportunities. But when you come in off the bench because your teammates have foul trouble and you hit 3 threes in a row, tough for a coach to pull you off the floor. Yeah,
you can't take him off. He's played well on the offensive end. He's played well defensively. And there you see Foster. That's a nice little play there called there by Greg McDermott to give him the opportunity one-on-one. And here's what he is. He's a sturdy, strong guard. And he gets his shoulders square. It's lights out. I mean, Shannon Evans doesn't have a chance there. He's got more strength, more power. And Marcus Foster is a guy that just can really score the basketball. I've been so impressed with his efficiency. He was a good scorer at K-State, but he was inefficient. Took some bad shots. Self-admittedly, talking to Marcus this morning, the quality of shots he's taking are better, and as a result, I mean, he is 50% from the field, 40% from the three-point line, playing really well here through the first 11 games for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, with those free throws, Creighton now up by 6. Just over 6 minutes to play here in the first half. Eric Rothman, Carol Austin here with you in Tempe, Arizona. Torian Graham's fadeaway jumper rattles out. Watson back in with those 2 fouls. Keeps the right-hand dribble, has it stripped, saves it to Zierden. Foster 1 step inside the arc, and a rebound by Oleka. Evans muscling one up, rebound loose, and Holder gets it. Arizona State's done a great job of keeping possessions alive and leading to easy buckets like that for Cody Justice. Trying to get position underneath. Cody Justice wouldn't allow him to do it, so a foul on Justice for pushing Patton and not letting him get his placement. That's Justice's second personal.
Well, just attacking the closeout there, and a little wave by Justin Patton as Justice goes by.
We talked about the backcourt a little bit for Creighton, but both of these teams with Foster and Watson for Creighton and Holder and Evans for Arizona State have a nice combination of change of pace guards in the backcourt.
It's difficult to defend, and when you talk about Arizona State, they have different point of attack guys, meaning Evans can bring it up or Holder can bring it up. Watson's more ball dominant with what he does, but you certainly have to account for the scoring prowess of Foster.
Zierden on the other end missed his first three-point attempt in 4 trials. Oleka double teamed. Graham on the offensive glass with the putback, in Arizona State back within 2. All will stay with Creighton, and we've seen Maurice Watson time and time again take the inbounds after a made basket for Arizona State and just beat everybody down the floor.
To be a team that plays at this tempo, it's something you have to be committed to every possession. You can't take possessions off, and you have to have a point guard and you have to have a big that are committed to run, and they have that in Watson and Patton.
Patton checking out, will take a seat on the bench. Foster can't save the pass from going out of bounds, so a turnover on the Blue Jays, and now a chance for Arizona State to tie or take the lead. Kentucky, Louisville tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. The battle in the Bluegrass State, Calipari versus Patino. It's going to be a great one, especially with UK coming off that huge win against North Carolina. And Trey Holder, who hasn't hit a bucket in 13.5 minutes, gets a big three-pointer there, and Arizona State is back up by 1. No whistle as Holder hits the ground hard. 2-on-1, Watson, a wild shot. Rebound out of bounds, will stay with Creighton.
Well, Trey Holder has been aggressive in the first half and looking for his own shot, knocking down the three. That's helped this Arizona State team hang with Creighton.
Yeah, thank you, guys, and let's remind you that the annual NBA on Christmas Day tradition continues with 5 great games. The day starts at noon Eastern with the Celtics and the Knicks on ESPN. And at 2:30 on ABC, catch the Warriors and the Cavs. At 5 on ABC, the Bulls take on the Spurs, and it's back over to ESPN for Timberwolves and Thunder. Finally, we wrap the day up at 10:30 Eastern with the Clippers and the Lakers. All those games streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
Well, we only get 2 of those all year, Warriors-Cavs games, right?
Yep.
I mean, we only get 2. And I think most people would say both teams are on a collision course again to meet in the final.
Well, and most people would also say that you could just make national holidays out of those games in general. You don't necessarily have to put it on Christmas Day.
I'm all for more basketball national holidays. I think we need more.
Arizona State on top by 1 here against the undefeated Creighton Blue Jays. The Blue Jays on the road, their highest ranking ever at number 9. Greg McDermott in his 7th season with the Blue Jays, and Arizona State hanging tough here at home. Blue Jays basketball out of the break, under 4 minutes to play. Arizona State 52% from the field. Big reason why. They've kept pace with the hot shooting Creighton Blue Jays, as the Blue Jays have made 7 of 14 threes. Floater by Thomas. He hasn't played a lot here in the first half with those early fouls.
Yeah, going to have to be careful here on the defensive end if you're Thomas. But we've seen Greg McDermott give some time to Watson with 2 fouls. Now giving a little time to Kyrie Thomas. Wants to have some of his best guys out there, but going to have to be careful here if you're Thomas on the defensive end.
Creighton back to a 1-point lead. And for Arizona State, Kara, their offensive possessions haven't looked pretty, but they've consistently finished, and that's a big thing that Coach Hurley has been asking his team to do.
Well, they have guards that can score, and when you have guards that can score, the possession might not be pretty until the end, and they make something happen.
Foster trying to skip passes. It was kicked on the inside. We'll stay with Creighton. Also seen a lot of substitutions with the Blue Jays, keeping guys fresh for Coach McDermott.
Well, I think some of that's been the foul trouble as well. And, you know, the post play, they're trying to still figure some things out. With Zach Hansen out, he's out for a few months. You know, tore a tendon and ligaments in his left ankle, and he was a key piece to what they did. So they're trying to cobble together enough post minutes between Hegner and Patton.
They can always rely on their backcourt as Marcus Foster leans in a bucket. He's got 12 points on 5 of 11 shooting. He averages 18 per game, well on his way here, under 3 minutes to play in the first half. Coach Hurley asking for some motion underneath by his front court. 6 on the shot clock now for Holder. Evans left alone. Banks off the side of the backboard. We've seen consistently Arizona State taking possessions down to the last couple seconds of the shot clock, and they've had opportunities from the three-point line, only 2 of 10 from long range. Do you think that they're taking it down so far in the shot clock because of the defense of Creighton? Do we have a technical foul? bench warning. Okay, so Greg McDermott gives a little bit of a smirk there to the officiating crew after a bench warning. But Arizona State, Kara, they're taking the possessions down to the last second. Is that a matter of Creighton's defense, or is that a strategy by Coach Hurley to slow down and limit the possessions for the Blue Jays on the offensive end?
Well, I think you want to take a good shot, and so sometimes it can be a little bit of both. You want to be sure to try and hold Creighton's transition game down, and if you don't have a good early look like Evans didn't have right there, then you pull it out, then you work the clock.
Smart offensive possessions here in the first half for Arizona State. Hegner the rebound. Patton calling for it, back to the basket, faces up and hits the baby hook. First bucket of the game for Justin Patton. And now Arizona State has not made a bucket in over 3 minutes. And Torian Graham changes that with a bang. Patton, the big man, answering on the other end.
Well, that's his 4th three-pointer of the season, 4 for 6. So he has the ability to do that. They don't come very often, but he has the ability to knock down that trail 3.
Oleka, good ball fake, strong to the rim. Zierden out with it for a 2-on-1 break.
Nice.
Foster up ahead to Kyrie Thomas for the one-hand flush.
Yeah, that's Creighton at its best right there.
Timeout on the floor. Arizona State finds themselves down 7.
And can really get the game away from you. And Justin Patton, you see the jumper right there, giving him that three-point shot. And he said he's hit 4 of 6 on the season. And then they do this as well as anybody in the country, and that's change ends from a missed shot to a turnover. They're spacing, running their lanes. They do a terrific job. And that dunk finishes a 12-3 run for Creighton. They've been able to get out ahead here towards the end of the first half.
Blue Jays now their largest lead of the first half, up by 7. We'll see what Arizona State can do coming out of the break. They've done a good job so far tonight keeping pace with Creighton. It's not an easy thing to do. And Graham has been excellent. Graham now with 13 points. Arizona State within 5. Great possession out of the timeout. Half-second difference between the game and the shot clock for the final 10 ticks here in the first half. And a block by Graham. 1 second to shoot, and a good finish on defense by Arizona State. But the undefeated Creighton Blue Jays lead it by 5 at the break. And Creighton lighting it up.
You're watching ESPN's Holiday Hoops, presented by Zales.
Maybe a halftime score that people are a little surprised to see. Undefeated Creighton 45 on the road against Arizona State, who has 40. We welcome you back inside the Wells Fargo Arena. Kara Lawson alongside Eric Rothman. And Kara, we knew that Creighton was going to come out and shoot 3-pointers, but 8 for 16 in the first half is pretty darn good.
It's really good. I mean, it's even above their season average, which is lights out at 44% from beyond the arc. And they got a big boost from their bench early, and I thought that was key. Maurice Watson picks up 2 fouls. Kyrie Thomas picks up 2 fouls. And you look at what Hegner and Zierden do in the first half. They combine to hit 5 3-pointers. But it's not just those guys. Creighton had 5 different players knock down at least 1 3-point shot in the first half. I thought that helped, not having their leader, their orchestrator out on the court for the better part of that first half. And Maurice Watson, you see Justin Patton getting in on the action, the 7-foot center knocking down a 3 as well.
Zierden giggling on the bench. I guess I'd be giggling too if I was shooting as well as he was in the first half. 3 of 4 for Zierden, leading the way as Creighton coming into the game, as Kara mentioned, 44% from the floor. On the flip side, Kara, for Arizona State, they've kept it close. They've hit some big shots. Trey Holder and Torian Graham have been the big stories coming out of the first half.
Well, there's no question Arizona State's guards can score. And so they did it at a good enough clip to be able to hang with Creighton. Their challenge is going to be to try and take away that three-point line.
A little English underneath for Maurice Watson. Watson now with 6 points on 2 of 3 shooting. Not known as a prolific scorer, leads the NCAA in assists per game, but does put up 13 points on average. Seven is the largest lead of the night for Creighton. They've been there twice before. Oleka keeps it alive. Evans missing the second chance. Another offensive rebound for the Sun Devils, and Oleka finishes it underneath. Patton with Graham on his back. The two-hand jam for Justin Patton, the redshirt freshman. Saw a lot of this in the first half for the Sun Devils. Half-court sets, draining the shot clock, waiting for opportunities. And this time an opportunity comes as Holder hesitates and a foul on Marcus Foster.
We're going to see a different team offensively here in the second half because we're going to see more of this young man right here, Maurice Watson. And so he is a straw that stirs the drink for Creighton on the offensive end. You see the nice little dump down for Justin Patton. Now remember, Arizona State undersized in the starting lineup at the 5 position and then inexperienced when they go to the bench at the 5 position. So Patton, if they can work him in the half court, it'd make a big difference for their offense.
Karen, now Foster picks up his second foul as Torian Graham cleans up the loose ball, and Torian Graham now has 15. Foster for Creighton has 2 fouls. Thomas has 2 fouls. Watson has 2 fouls. So if any more whistles start picking up here in the second half, Creighton could have some issues, especially in the backcourt. Oh, Watson changes hands mid-air. An impressive bucket for Maurice Watson, who now has 8. Oleka, good baseline drive, gets around Patton. Good floater by Foster, and Arizona State's been good on the offensive end, but they can't just trade buckets with Creighton the rest of the way out.
Well, they can't, and defensively has been a problem for them all year, defensive consistency. And they've just been a bad defensive team. That's what the numbers say. And so at some point, you're going to have to show some resistance on that end of the floor. At some point, you're going to have to try and stop Creighton from scoring if you want to come back in this one.
Arizona State gives up 82 points per game. That's 325th in the nation. Back down by 7 after the turnover. Good ball movement by the Blue Jays, and it leads to a corner 3 for Marcus Foster.
Yeah, see what happens when you involve the big man? You involve the big man, and now all of a sudden they have to collapse because they're at a height deficit. They've got to go to Cody Justice. They've got to bring him help. And as a result, Creighton makes you pay. Look at this ball. Ping around the perimeter. This is a team that's so unselfish and so skilled, and that's what makes them difficult to defend.
A 10-point advantage under 17 minutes to play here in the second half, and Kara, Watson getting inside for Creighton consistently.
Creighton puts a lot of pressure on you, and they spread their guys out along the three-point line, and Watson is going to start, and he's going to come off of this screen. We'll take a look at Torian Graham here and watch him in help side defense. And as this play happens, he's in no man's land. He doesn't stop the play off the ball, but he doesn't stay attached to Cole Huff. You have to do one or the other. You can't just be in between and not stop Watson, and that's what Creighton does. They put high screen action in, they spread their shooters around, and they make the help side defenders have to decide. And what you can't do is what Graham did there. He didn't decide. He just stayed in the middle, and as a result, Watson gets a layup at the rim.
Creighton at perfect 5 for 5 out of the half break. And Arizona State's been decent as well, but we talked about it before the timeout. Can't afford to trade baskets with the Blue Jays. A rare turnover on Watson as he traveled going baseline.
So this is danger zone here for Arizona State, right? I mean, down 10 points, just 3 minutes into the second half. They've got to find a way to have some quality offensive possessions. And what's been the pattern? When they've had quality offensive possessions, they've been able to set their defense and do a little bit better job on the defensive end against Creighton.
Just seems like a lot of times with Creighton, their pace and three-point shooting ability just grinds teams down, just wears them down as the game progresses.
Well, everybody likes to run in the first 10 minutes of the game. I mean, it's easy, right? It's really hard to do for the whole game, and that's where Creighton gets you. They have guys that are committed to sprint, not committed to run, committed to sprint every time down the floor. I mean, watch Justin Patton and watch him run the middle of the floor. He is something to watch at 7 foot and his ability to do that.
The redshirt freshman, Justin Patton, just picked up his first foul. Now a reset for the Sun Devils. Arizona State's been led by Holder and Graham. Obina Aleka has also gotten in there. Good pickpocket by Watson. Loose ball up for grabs. And a timeout on the floor for Arizona State. The Sun Devils find themselves down by 10. Bowl season is upon us, and tomorrow night on ESPN at 9 p.m. Eastern, we keep on bowling with the San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl. BYU squares off with Wyoming. A game also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Well, Bobby Hurley's Arizona State Sun Devils find themselves down by 10. It's the largest lead for undefeated Creighton. But Coach Hurley is also out of timeouts, as before the break, a loose ball, the Sun Devils have to take their final timeout. Could prove costly later on in this game.
Well, especially when you're playing a team like Creighton, you have to use those timeouts to call runs. It's a big shot by Obi Aleka out of the timeout. Arizona State badly needed that one, but I don't really like that timeout call with the loose ball. I like to try to save one in case you really need it later on in the game.
Eric Rothman, Carol Lawson here with you, and it looked like Coach Hurley was hoping for a held ball before the timeout call. It didn't get it. And that's a foul underneath, a pretty blatant one on Cody Justice as he shoved Kyrie Thomas on the loose ball. 3 fouls now on Cody Justice. He will have to take a seat, and Shannon Evans back into the game. It was a big three-pointer for Arizona State. They had been 3 for 14 from long distance before that make by Obi Aleka. Horse race, Evans nearly gets it away from Huff. And on the shot clock, Watson caught in the corner. Patton rejected by Tashumpa. Tashumpa, the big man running the floor, missing the lay-in. Thomas didn't have numbers, and it didn't matter. A foul on Arizona State. And you see Jethro Tashumpa there, averaging 2 blocks per game. Already has 2 in this one. The freshman out of the Congo. And foul trouble has been his big issue. He's a presence down low, a presence that Arizona State doesn't have a lot of, as we see the Christmas spirit underneath the basket from the curtain of distraction. But for Tashumpa, he's a big part of Arizona State's success going forward. If he can refine his game, a game that he didn't pick up basketball seriously until he was 15, if he can do that, he will be able to take Arizona State maybe a little bit further than people are expecting them to go.
I'm sorry, man. I was distracted by the curtain. I was looking. I'm sure what you said was awesome. I was just looking to see who was going to pop out from behind the curtain.
Well, maybe next time I'll go back there so we make sure everybody's listening. 58-49. Creighton on top here under 15 minutes to play. Shumpa can't handle it underneath, arguing with the referee, saying that he didn't touch the basketball. To no avail, as the ball will go back to the Blue Jays. This might be the first time we've seen Creighton walk the ball up the floor.
Well, they've got a very dense playbook. Greg McDermott has a lot of different sets, and because of the skill set and having a high basketball IQ point guard like Maurice Watson, it enables you to do a ton of things offensively. So they can run in the half court. They can run sets in the half court.
Foul on the floor. It's going to be on Watson, his third. And Creighton looking for their best start since 2003-2004. If they can win here tonight, Maurice Watson unhappy about that foul call. But Creighton 11-0, searching for 12-0, one of 6 undefeated teams in the country. Villanova, another Big East member, as well as UCLA, Baylor, Gonzaga, and USC, the remaining undefeateds. Loose ball, bodies hit the deck, and Creighton will take possession.
Well, I'm sure everybody in Omaha is very much looking forward to New Year's Eve. And Villanova, the defending national champions, coming to Omaha to take on Creighton. How good is the Big East going to be this year? I mean, those top 4 teams, when you talk about Villanova, Xavier, Creighton, Butler, and of course, you get the home and home. So everybody playing each other twice.
Toby Hegner from Berlin, Wisconsin, population 5,500. A big man out of a small town, making it rain here in Arizona. Evans bumped, no shot, foul on the floor. Hegner has now hit 3 of 4 from long range. And the largest lead of the night for Creighton.
Well, he's got post player size, but his game is all perimeter. And it's interesting when you watch Creighton in practice and they have breakdowns. Usually breakdowns, you have guards on one end, posts on the other. There's only 2 posts on the post end for Creighton, right? Because the rest of the guys are shooters, and Hegner's down there with the guards, getting them up, getting those 3-point looks.
10 for 20 from 3-point land for Creighton so far in this one. Aleka blocked by Hegner. Keeps it alive as well. Boy, Zierden and Hegner have been excellent off the bench for the Blue Jays. Foul underneath as Patton got clipped by Tshumpa going up. The third on Jethro Tshumpa. That's what I was talking about earlier, Carol, when you were distracted by the curtain of distraction, was the foul trouble of Jethro Tshumpa. He averages 11 fouls per 40 minutes. But there's a reason why he's only averaging 7 minutes per game, because he doesn't get anywhere close to a full game with those foul issues.
Yeah, just not alert and a lot not aware right there. You got a stack underneath the basket on end out of bounds, and the biggest player is on the back of it. You can be pretty sure that's going to be a lot.
Tshumpa stays in with those 3 fouls. Patton the rejection. And 3 on transition for Kyrie Thomas, the sophomore. And it's a 10-0 run now for the Blue Jays, as they have opened up a big lead with 12 minutes to play here in the second half. Leaner by Graham, but it's an offensive foul.
I can't tell you how good that last play was, end-to-end, that Justin Patton made. In the ball screen against a guard. He moved laterally, kept him in front when he went baseline, stayed with him, and then blocked the shot. mean, watch this. This is a 7-footer right here. Blocks the shot. Now watch him sprint. Watch him go, leading the break. This sprint gets Kyrie Thomas the open three-point shot. It holds Shannon Evans at the back of that transition defense just for a split second and gets that out. I mean, that was just a tremendous play by Patton.
Torian Graham, the 360 slam after the Creighton turnover. And Patton, the redshirt freshman, sat out last season for Coach McDermott. And it was a tough decision for Coach to make because it looked like Patton may be ready to go, but he was able to gain about 25 pounds during his true freshman year sitting on the bench. And with that added weight and muscle, he can pull off moves like that.
Yeah, just getting better and better. I mean, his upside is scary. It is scary.
And Patton, another rejection.
He's tired right now. He's calling a little bit of a sub, but he's earned it.
Zierden in the corner, his 4th three-pointer of the night.
That quick, right? I mean, wow, these guys are explosive. The 20-point lead, just like that.
In the blink of an eye, a 20-point lead on a 13-2 run. Holder stops the bleeding momentarily. Patton, double post move, the up and under, and he draws the foul.
And there's a reason why this team is undefeated, why they're the 9th-ranked team in the country. Unselfish, skilled, they're taking this thing over.
On here in the second half on the road against Arizona State. Transition basketball, Carol Lawson.
They're one of the best in the country at this, and that's the pass ahead. I mean, they get end-to-end so quickly, and they look head up, passing ahead, getting clean looks at the basket. You see the nice extra pass there by Hegner, and of course it makes it a little bit easier when you've got players that can shoot the basketball like them. I mean, 77% on the field goals in the second half, 12 for 22 from beyond the arc for the game. And you got Foster and Watson sitting on the bench, and they're still keeping it going.
Is there somebody on Creighton who can't make a three-pointer? I've yet to find one. It seems like everybody who comes on the floor, whether you're 7 feet tall like Patton, we saw him hit one earlier, or a backup like Hegner or Zierden, everybody can pour it in from distance. It's incredible.
Yeah. I think this has been a good test for them in the sense that from a lineup perspective, what's your biggest fear if you're Greg McDermott? Your biggest fear is that Watson gets in foul trouble. They don't really have a true backup point guard, and that has happened tonight on the road, and I think they've handled it reasonably well. So that's a good sign for this team moving forward, and certainly they'd love to get the services of Zach Hansen back before the end of the season, give them a little bit more experience, a little bit more of a sturdy physical presence there down in the post.
There is some hope with Hansen. It's just a matter of how quickly he recovers. Could possibly be the beginning of February, could be the end of February, but if Creighton is making a March run, Zach Hansen's health could be a big help down the road, as Oleka will pick up the foul.
You know, one of the challenges with Hansen going down is that it really has taken a toll on Patton, because he was playing in about 3-minute spurts at the start of the season, and Greg McDermott talked about how it's been hard for him just from a conditioning standpoint to have to play those longer stretches. But does it seem like every time you watch Creighton play, Patton's doing something better? And you know, I think in February and in March we're going to see a different player than he is now. Just his first year of collegiate basketball, redshirted a season ago. Incredible upside.
Patton tonight, 12 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. He also has 3 blocks on the defensive end. Redshirt freshman impressing here, getting minutes as well. Patton has 25 minutes on the floor so far in this one. Change of direction by Watson. It didn't fool Arizona State. And a foul underneath will go against Creighton.
That's a nice job by Evans there. And Watson's crafty. I mean, he has the ability to get into crevices and finish despite his size, but Evans kind of let him go by and got him from behind.
Now Kyrie Thomas picks up his third foul as you see him marching to the bench with Patton, who will get a breather. I'm sure he's very happy about that. But now Kyrie Thomas and Maurice Watson Jr. both with 3 fouls. Watson is still out there for the Blue Jays. Offensive rebound. Loose ball, and Graham saves it. Another opportunity on a reset for the Sun Devils. This time Trey Holder goes up, and a foul underneath on Creighton. Tomorrow night on ESPN, we have a great holiday hoops match presented by Zales, and it's a sonic blockbuster, the Bluegrass State rivalry, blue versus red, Calipari versus Patino. Kentucky squares off with Louisville. Coverage tips off at 6:30 Eastern, also streaming live on the ESPN app and Watch ESPN. Those stars for Kentucky coming off that huge win against UNC.
How good have these guys been? Just freshmen. Malik Monk with 47 against North Carolina. I mean, huge challenge for Louisville. I think Louisville's the best defensive team in the country, but this is going to be probably their toughest challenge to this point in the season. What
makes Louisville so difficult on the defensive end?
They're committed. They have the ability to change with their man-to-man, with their matchup, and they've got tremendous length, both on the perimeter and in the post. And Rick Pitino does a masterful job of changing tempo, of making you think, making you play in mud a little bit. Not just mud physically, but mud mentally, right? Changing defense, not kind of sure what you're in, how they're going to play. That's why I think the key to the game is Quentin Snyder, Donovan Mitchell, the perimeter for Louisville being able to slow down Monk and Fox. I mean, that's the key to it.
Kentucky and Louisville tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Obina Oleka at the free throw line for Arizona State, and Oleka already has his 11th double-double of the season, now with 14 points and 11 boards.
I mean, if you think about it, Louisville is, a poor stretch away from being undefeated. Lost by 3 in the Bahamas to Baylor, and they had control of that for most of the game. And Baylor's been off to a terrific start, one of those 6 undefeateds to this point. But Louisville's, with one bad stretch in the second half away from being undefeated as well.
Under 9 minutes to play here in the second half in Tempe. Oleka still playing hard for the Sun Devils, even though they are down by 16. And the fans here in the Wells Fargo Arena appreciate the effort.
Well, that's the effort they have to play with on the defensive end. And quite frankly, that's the effort we have not seen from Arizona State all season long on the defensive end. If they get after it like the last couple possessions defensively, and they've got a shot to win some games. But if they don't, it's going to be a challenge in the Pac-12.
Toby Hegner, stellar from distance. He is now 4 for 5 from long range, 12 points, double his season average per game.
8 threes combined for Hegner and Zierden off the bench. I mean, it's just ridiculous how well these guys shoot the basketball.
What a luxury it could be for Coach Greg McDermott if this guy off the bench, along with Isaiah Zierden, could provide quality scoring minutes when Big East play starts.
No, they're going to need it. They're going to need it. The Big East it's going to be a grind this year. So many tough teams.
Trey Holder, the English off the glass, and Holder has been very good tonight, although in spurts. He did have a 12-minute span without a field goal in that first half, and that's really when Creighton started to get their momentum going. Holder now with 14 on his own. Active hands for Arizona State. Tough bounce. Rejection by Justice. Holder, the up and under. Back-to-back buckets for Trey Holder, and the Sun Devils are within 15.
They're not going away quietly.
Another turnover. Graham all alone, 6 straight for the Sun Devils.
You've got to get Maurice Watson back in there if you're Greg McDermott. The pressure, they've upped it. Arizona State has. And you've got to have your point guard in. You got to have your maestro in. I mean, they're just putting two guys just running at the basketball. Got to love the effort for Arizona State.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Zales. Celebrate your lasting love with gifts from Zales, the Diamond Store.
For 6 straight here at home against the Blue Jays with under 8 minutes to play here in the second half. And Sam Cunliffe was the top recruit for Coach Bobby Hurley this season and announced about 10 days ago that he was going to transfer from the school, and that's a big problem for Arizona State considering he was providing 25 minutes per game. He started every game that he played in, averaging 10 points, 5 rebounds. For a team that doesn't have a ton of interior presence, losing him is a big deal.
Yeah, there's no question. It's a big deal. And you look at the scoring balance he helped provide. It's going to be a big loss for Arizona State moving forward. 3
of the 5 freshmen for Arizona State in this year's recruiting class are out. Cunliffe transferred. Romello White is ineligible, and then an injury to Vitaly Scheibel knocked him out for the entire season. So short-staffed for the Sun Devils as Zierden missing the 3, and Arizona State looking to add to their 11-4 run. Justice is served for Cody in the corner. Foster calling for it, and he matches on the other end.
They've had an answer every time, and Arizona State has had them scattered a little bit, but when they have to bring the double, they're just very adept at finding the shooters, making the extra pass. Great pass there by Hegman.
Eric Rothman, Carol Lawson here with you. Arizona State just trying to chip away. They are running out of clock. Under 6 minutes to play now here in the second half. The crossover by Holder, and he beat Tegner to the bucket. Holder now with 18. That's 2 better than his season average. Watson, and 1.
It has not been a vintage Watson evening, but you see his ability, how crafty he is, how shifty he is, getting into the lane and finishing. And, you know, he walks in the arena every night. There's not a guy on the floor that's more of a competitor than this young man right here. From Philly, you see 215 in Philly there on his left shoulder, tattooed. Very proud to be from Philadelphia.
Watson tonight, 10 points, 5 assists. He leads the nation in assists with 9 per game. He's going to be very aggressive, attacking the bucket. Distracted by the curtain on that one. Torian Graham on the wing, drains the 3, and Torian Graham has 22. Watson speeding down the court, had it knocked out of bounds. Sun Devils fans upset that the ball will stay with the Blue Jays.
Let's see, Creighton might have got away with one here.
And an and 1 off the inbound is insult to what the Arizona State fans deemed as an incorrect call.
Yeah, that's a big play. It looked like we got cut short a little bit there, but it looked like it might have gone off of Watson's thigh.
So now Foster will go to the free throw line with his 22 points. And makes it a three-point play, back out to a 13-point Creighton lead under 5 minutes to play here in the second half. Sun Devils rolling on offense. They've made 6 straight field goals. Cody Justice with the basketball, had one of them with a big three-pointer. Tries it again, well short. Double dribble.
You know, Foster at times will get tunnel vision towards the rim and towards the basket. And I thought he had a pass ahead right there to Thomas just to keep the defense honest in transition.
10th turnover on the game for Creighton. Graham tries the left side this time after hitting from the opposite spot on the floor. And a loose ball foul will go against the Blue Jays. And now in the bonus, Arizona State will shoot the 1-and-1.
I love watching Obieleka attack the offensive glass. He knows every night he's going to be undersized on the interior. But his athleticism is at such a high level, and his motor towards the offensive glass is impressive. I mean, he has battled all night trying to give his team extra opportunities.
Coach Bobby Hurley has called him the X factor for this team, and he says as far as Obieleka goes, that's how far our team will go. And he has played with 110% to be cliche here tonight. Good move by Watson. 10 on the shot clock. Graham poked it out. Huff, spin cycle. Offensive rebound by Patton for the putback. Patton now with 14 and 3 for the redshirt freshman. Holder got his own board.
Yeah, I like that decision there by Kyrie. You've got the lead.
Steal by Watson on the other end.
Nice pass.
What a move by Maurice Watson on the crossover, and then the one-hand pass to find Foster underneath. Holder and Watson getting caught up and tripped underneath. And the Creighton bench all into this one as the Blue Jays are up by 17. We're ready for that bluegrass battle tomorrow between Kentucky and Louisville. Here in Arizona, Creighton on top of ASU, 87-70. Eric Rothman, Carol Lawson here courtside with you. What a tough Big East schedule it is for Creighton. Boy, it is relentless.
Tough for everybody, not just tough for Creighton. Tough for Villanova, tough for Butler, tough for Xavier. I love the job that Josh Hart has done at Villanova to start the season. One of the favorites for National Player of the Year here through the non-conference. And you know, Trevon Blewett has played so well for Xavier. He's a guy that has gotten himself in incredible shape in the offseason, declared for the draft, but then came back to Xavier. And he's had plus 20 points for the last 5 games for the Musketeers. I mean, it is just going to be a lot of fun to watch those top 4 in the Big East get after it.
Nova, Xavier, Butler, Creighton, all in the top 25. Let's not forget Providence, Seton Hall, pretty good this year as well. Big East could have 5-6 teams come tournament time.
They could. They could. That middle is a little bit jumbled. You talked about Seton Hall, Marquette. Providence has had a good non-conference as well. So a lot is going to depend on how those teams do against those top 4 teams, right? Those are your excellent wins. I mean, those are your super quality wins in the Big East. If you're able to knock off Creighton, you know, Butler, Villanova, any of those teams in the conference play.
15-point advantage for the Blue Jays, nearing the 3-minute mark here in regulation. Holder will go to the free throw line, shooting 2 free throws as Justin Patton picks up the foul. Excuse me, Patton is shooting for Creighton. Well, SNL tribute there. Chris Farley and Patrick Swayze. They had the bodies of both. The curtain of distraction always comes prepared. Arizona State, under 3 minutes to go. A lot of work to do. It's been a tough season for them, 6-5 overall. As Shannon Evans, the transfer from Buffalo, hits the 3. And now Arizona State comes out in a full court press, gets a turnover. And a foul, I believe, will go against Watson, and I think that's going to be his 5th. And that's exactly what just happened. So Maurice Watson Jr., 5 fouls. And he is done with his 10 points and 7 assists. So now Creighton will be without the leading assist man in the NCAA. He averages 9 per game. He takes a seat. And so now Tyler Clement, the junior from Shawnee, Kansas, comes in to replace him. And this is the situation we talked about earlier in the game, with Creighton having difficulty today, specifically, keeping their backcourt out of foul trouble. And that's kind of one of those question marks for the Blue Jays. It's when we go deep into Big East play and we have foul issues like we have tonight, who steps up? And tonight it's been Zierden and Hegner. But for as talented as the backcourt is for Creighton, and as well as Zierden and Hegner have played, even though Hegner more of a forward than a guard, it's tough to think that you can maybe rely on those guys game in and game out.
Well, you know, Maurice Watson, this is kind of rare. I mean, it's rare that a point guard's going to pick up 5 fouls. And so he's got to be a little bit smarter and play with those fouls a little bit better. But that's what the non-conference is for. The non-conference is to expose and create certain situations, certain adversities, and see how your team handles it. And I would say that Creighton's handled it pretty well with Watson being in foul trouble.
Patton missing the alley-oop, but he got fouled. Cody Justice picking up his 4th foul. And Creighton's Big East season will get underway in their next game. Seton Hall on the 28th, followed by Villanova, St. John's, Providence, and Butler. Rock and roll party from the curtain, as Patton has been very good from the free throw line tonight. And Patton has held up well for Creighton in extended minutes. We talked about them missing Zach Hansen, the senior. Patton starting to get more minutes consistently, and it looks like his conditioning has been up to par.
Yeah, he's played well. I mean, he's a guy that they're going to have to lean on until Hansen gets back into the lineup. And they're going to have to lean on him for heavy minutes.
Creighton 11 for 13 from the free throw line tonight. That is an anomaly for them, as they're one of the worst teams in the nation in terms of free throw shooting, just averaging as a team 65%. And you talk about exposing things, Kara, and working on things in the non-conference. Free throws are a big part of conference play, as Kyrie Thomas, the rejection. And if Creighton can correct that thing, really the only thing on the offensive end for Creighton that's been an issue this year.
Yeah, free throw shooting, you know, you talk about that schedule we showed you with Xavier, with Villanova, and with Butler. You have to anticipate that those are going to be close games. And you could play very well against all 3 of those teams, and it's going to be a close game. And the familiarity of the programs within conference play also help make games a little bit tighter. So Creighton, to this point in the season, the lack of quality free throw shooting hasn't bitten them yet, but it might very well.
Clement missing that free throw. What would you have done as a player if you had to deal with the curtain of distraction?
It would have been hard for me to look away or to ignore it, that's for sure. Maybe try to get fouled in the first half, not the second half, because they only do it on the one end.
It's maybe a little bit aggressive, less aggressive to the basket later on in the game.
Maybe.
Patton, the swat, but gets called for the foul. Third foul on Patton. The whistle's starting to get a little bit more consistent here in the final few minutes of this game. It was a pretty clean first half, not a lot of free throws, but now each of these teams in the double bonus, heading to the line every time. This is a good rebound for Creighton as well. I mean, they beat Oral Roberts, but it was a 1-point victory. Oral Roberts is 2-10 on this season. And Arizona State, although they've been inconsistent, no slouch. So being able to come on the road for what is really only Creighton's second true road game of the season. They played at Nebraska earlier on and beat the Cornhuskers, but coming off a 1-point win where they had season lows in almost every offensive category, to come in and put up nearly 100 points so far against Arizona State, pretty impressive.
Yeah, different type of game too. I mean, Oral Roberts really challenged their patience. You know, they held the basketball. They took the shot clock down nearly every possession, and that gave them an opportunity. I mean, Creighton had to play almost lights out. In the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game, Oral Roberts didn't score. Creighton ends up winning by 1. I mean, there was extreme pressure on Creighton possession by possession down there at the end of that second half.
Torian Graham hits the jumper as his defender Justin Patton, and Patton fell on the ground. Torian Graham now up to 24 points. It's his season high. He did have 23 against Portland State. Has one better tonight. He's averaging 17 points per game on the season. Foster is leading all scorers with now 26 points. And he stepped up when Thomas and Watson were dealing with that foul trouble. And even though he's had 5 turnovers, which I'm sure Coach McDermott maybe a little bit unhappy about, but in terms of offensive consistency, 10 for 18 from the floor is pretty good.
Yeah, he's been good. He's been good this evening, and it's been not a normal offensive night because Watson is normally in control of everything, even going against his Arizona State pressure, which has been disruptive. It's been disruptive.
Foul up top. Cody Justice, and Cody knows that's his 5th foul, so he will head to the bench. He is disqualified. 7 points for Cody Justice. Had a big 3-pointer in what was Arizona State's thwarted comeback attempt earlier in this second half. We are ready from some prehistoric curtain of distraction action. Who is funding all of these costumes? Aren't these supposed to be poor college kids? I didn't have money to make a costume. Barely had enough money to eat.
I don't know what that was supposed to, what was going on there. I'm confused on that one. I don't think they jumped high enough.
The jump roping dinosaurs. Under a minute to play here in regulation. Creighton up 95-82. Eric Rothman, Carol Lawson here in Tempe. High-scoring affair, as we expected it to be. Creighton will remain unbeaten, one of 6 teams still in the country to not have a loss. Villanova, UCLA, Baylor, Gonzaga, and USC. The other 5, and Villanova atop all other teams in the rankings, remaining at number 1. Bobby Hurley, second season here at Arizona State, seems frustrated, and understandably so, with the transfer of Sam Cunliffe, his top recruit for the year. He's had some freshmen go down with injuries. It's a short squad, not a ton of depth. Does have some talent, and is still kind of cultivating the culture here in Arizona State in his second season. Obina Aleka, I'm sure he would love to keep him around for another 4 years. Arizona State continuing to send the Blue Jays to the line, now down by 10. Rhythmic gymnastic Darth Vader. Topical. Foster hits the second one. And Foster now a season high 29 points. Loose ball picked up by Zierden. And 4-second difference between the game and the shot clock for the final 30 seconds of this one. And Creighton, Kara, just continuing to impress here in an undefeated season so far. 30-second timeout taken by the Blue Jays.
Well, this looks like Creighton is going to finish the non-conference undefeated. 12-0 and head into Big East play. And I don't know that a lot of people saw that coming off of the season that they had a year ago. And one of the things that Greg McDermott has been most impressed about was the assimilation of Marcus Foster and Justin Patton, just how quickly they have been able to ingratiate themselves with their teammates, how quickly they've been able to fit in with the other guys and give tremendous production. And of course, they both had years where they sat out last year. Marcus Foster because of the transfer from Kansas State, Justin Patton because of a redshirt coming out of high school, a local kid out of Omaha. And those two players and their production has been, I think they're the two biggest reasons why this team is undefeated. I think Maurice Watson's their most important player, but I think the two biggest reasons from a production standpoint are Marcus Foster and Justin Patton.
Offensive foul on Clement, using the offhand to shove his defender. And now the shot clock turned off for the final 17 seconds of this ball game. Creighton will have their best start since 2003-2004. If they win one more, they win against Seton Hall in their next game. That would be their best record in 74 years. So looking to continue as they head into conference play. And now we have a review of this foul.
Elbow to the chin, a holder there.
Just a common foul after the review. So the foul on Tyler Clement. Took a look to see if there was anything more to it. Arizona State will inbound for the final 17 seconds of this ball game. Holder still playing with the same energy he started the game with, attacking the rim. As that little bunny pops out. And Bobby Hurley not letting his team back off, no matter how much time is left, no matter how much they are down. Creighton can dribble it over the timeline. And the Blue Jays, number 9 in the country, remain undefeated and move to 12-0 for the first time since 03-04. Creighton on the road defeating Arizona State once again. The Blue Jays 96, the Sun Devils 85. Coming up next on ESPN2, it's an E60 profile of Mike Evans. For Carol Lawson, I'm Eric Rothman saying so long as Creighton remains undefeated.